everyone, I'm Bree Joseph.
And I'm Casey Rogan, and we own and operate a special effects company called KBZ Effects.
And today we're going to show you at home how to recreate the H1Z1 zombie. Because we are going to be putting adhesive onto his skin, we want to make sure that his skin is clean and free of all oils. So we're going to take our alcohol, just on a tissue, we're going to just wipe all the oils off his face. Now before we start applying, we want to make sure we get his hair as tame as we can possibly get it. So we're going to take a hairspray and just brush all these flyaways down. You can get these bald caps at any special effects store, and it's just a basic bald cap. Okay, so we're just going to go in right now. Top of that. Now I'm going to take my PROS-AIDE adhesive and a Q-tip, and we're not going to go too heavy with this at all. Right where that hairline was, we're just going to rub the adhesive in there. So just all the way to where his eye line is, and that's it. Because we want to leave this open because we have to cut the ear line out. I'm going to go back and reinforce that just a little bit. I'm going to smooth down the edges.
You'll notice that the PROS-AIDE will go clear, and that's when you know that it's set.
Now we're going to come back, we're going to get behind his neck. He's already cleanly shaven, but you do not want to get the PROS-AIDE in the hair, and you're going to attach the back of the bald cap to the back of the neck. So we're just going to go back and apply the glue right under the hairline, right where that bald cap's going to sit. I want to speed the process up. Again, low heat. And now we're going to take this cap, I'm going to stretch it down. So here's his ear here. I'm not going to trace the whole thing. I'm going to go about an inch below the top of this ear at this angle right here because I want this flap to be forward. I want a flap to hide behind the ear. So I'm come in here, be very careful with him. Right to about there. You see that fit. Don't be afraid to size these. And it's okay to cut the ends of this because it's easier to blend a jagged line than it is to blend a straight line. So I'm just going to cut a little excess off. Again, this will be fine because it's right behind the ear. You'll never see it. And now that I have that, I'm going to take my Q-tip. I'm going to pull this down. If you do get the PROS-AIDE in the hair, don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. Soap and water, alcohol will take it off. We're going to go in and reinforce that with powder once again to get that shine off.
Today we're using Krylon, and it's an anti-shine powder. Feel free, if you cannot find this at any specialty store, use baby powder.
I'm just going to go right along the edge. Now, the zombie that we're creating is clearly a bald zombie with no hair. He also has no eyebrows. So I'm going to put an eyebrow prosthetic that we at KBZ make. I'm going to take my PROS-AIDE. I'm going to go around the perimeter of his eyebrows. Edges nice and secure. We've got these all our ends nicely pressed down. We're going to go ahead one more time with a little bit of powder just so that his eyelashes are not sticking together. Same process. You want to put the glue down, let it dry just a little bit, and then go back. Our next step, we're going to take a sponge, and again, we want the color to stay on his face. So we're going to prep his face with blotting just a little bit of more PROS-AIDE all over these and on the prosthetics, and a little bit on his face so that the color, again, sticks. So we're going to start with the green color. And the green is basically going to take the peach and the pinks and the life out of his face. So today, for you beginners, we're going to probably start with the grease paint. I suggest maybe getting a mixing palette, taking a little bit off, and just placing it in your palette. These can also be loosened up with a little bit of alcohol. Before we go any further, I want to make sure that, again, the colors don't bleed. So I'm just going to take a little bit of powder and just set that green on there. I'm going to go in with my undead tones. We're going to start basing his whole entire face out, so everything. That way we start with a clean palette. And again, you're sticking to a stipple because you want those broken lines to keep that green pop through. Don't forget his ears too. We don't want to have a dead zombie with flesh ears. And remember to use like an off-white. You don't want a white. He's not a ghost. Now we're going to go in with the darker brown. Now we're literally going to dab the tip of that brush. We're not going to go crazy with that. We just want a little bit of lightness, just like that. So we're going to go into his highlights, the contours of his face, I should say, and start darkening that up a little bit. While Casey's finishing that, I'm going to go and stipple with a sponge.
Now we're gonna go ahead and incorporate a little black around that eye too.
We don't want to go too crazy with this again, so the same technique. Thin it out first. Take the excess off of your brush before you just go in there. You want to really get those eyes sunken in. Now we're going to take that same color, maybe mix a little bit of brown in there, and go right in there. Right on the crest.
It can be a little bit messy around. Now remember, he's a zombie, he's decaying, and he eats people. So he's not going to be neat.
Neat guy. In case you're just going back in and blending those colors nicely. While Casey's finishing that piece up, I'm going to go ahead and start laying our dried blood. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start adding all the dried blood tones into his head. And again, we're just filling in all his gashes. All right, now that we've gone in with our dried blood, we're going to go to a little more aged blood. And now I'm going to go on all the tips of these with like my brownish red, just a little darker than the color I started with. Just to really highlight these, we're just going to go right on the tips of all these stars now. Now I'm going to take the tip of a chip brush, and to also help hide the lines, we're going to take a little of that dried blood color, and we're going to literally stipple just around there lightly, keeping the dots. You do not want those dots blended in. You want to see them a little like that. We go half and half on the prosthetic, half on the skin. Now I'm assuming our zombie has already gotten into someone and has eaten someone already. I'm going to take the tip of another one of those craft sponges, and I'm not going to soak it. I'm just going to hit the top of that. I'm going to even dabble off my excess so it doesn't get crazy, and start stippling those just on the outer ends of his mouth. Our zombie is not complete until we yucky up the zombie's teeth. So what we did is went and purchased a pair of prosthetic teeth that you can get at any costume store. And it comes with a 2-part adhesive that you're gonna mix together. Yeah, they're scary teeth, but we wanna make them look a little more zombie, a little more dead, like they've been maybe buried for the last 30 years. We're going to take a temporary tooth decay color. So I'm gonna go in there and maybe rough these up, go into the gums, just kind of lay it on there. Maybe take the excess off with a paper towel. So I'm going to take my 2 parts and we're going to mix these together. And once I have that rolled up, we're going to place this right into the mold. We're actually going to take the same tooth decay, and we're just going to place a little bit on his real teeth. There you have it, H1Z1 zombie that you too can create right at home.